Okay, and I did overlook one of the questions, not because it was controversial or anything, but I'm sorry, and we ran out of time anyway. We were trying to keep the first one under an hour, so we had time for a break. Okay, I'll just remind y'all how we're going to do this. This is the second part, and we're going to ask questions of these gentlemen and ladies. This lady and gentleman have had some questions that we prepared for them, and they've had time to prepare those, and they'll answer those questions. And then they'll have a little bit of time if it seems like that question's one that someone might want to respond to that's another candidate. They'll be able to, and then we'll have the questions that y'all have filled out. We'll hear from you guys, okay? Okay, let's begin with, why don't I let y'all introduce yourself, and then I'll start the questions. You want to start here with Scotty?
I'm Scotty Schilling, and I'm the current Commissioner of Precinct 3. Can you hear me?
It's a good mic check anyway, too. Okay, Alan?
I'm Alan Meier. There's Ed.
Diane?
I'm Frances Diane Coleman, and my husband Mark and I live in Follett, Texas.
Okay, thank you. And we used her middle name because that's how I know her, but it'll be on the ballot, all three names. So, okay, Mr. Schilling, how many years have you been County Precinct 3 Commissioner, and can you describe your time as Commissioner and what your accomplishments are? And this will be a 2-minute answer.
Well, I'm in my 4th term, which would be 16 years. I guess one thing I'd want to correct is you say my accomplishment. A lot of what we do is Commissioner's Court. When things are really running smooth and everybody agreeing, it's pretty easy. But there has been times where some of us didn't agree. But the main thing is I'd like to say that the county is in very good shape. We're not in debt. We are in conjunction with the Texas Historical Commission. We do have a contract on the I want to call it the museum, on the courthouse. We're all in the museum, and now they're over at the courthouse. But anyway, that is all progress. If you take my individual deal, I feel like that my precinct, I'm not going to sit up here and run down other commissioners or how they do things or anything like that tonight. But I feel like my precinct is run very well. Our goal from 16 years ago was to stay busy, stay out of the pickup, stay off the streets, and get things done. We're still that today. We do all of our own tire work. We have very talented people that do, one of them's a mechanic, so we do a lot of our own stuff. We have very good machinery, despite the controversy. When I bought a Cat and the others bought Volvos, that was a controversy. But I believe it's pretty important that you have good equipment to go through hard times. And that's what we're fixing to have. And so we take very good care of it. You can go look at any statistic you want. I'll put my precinct up with the others as to how much we get done, what our repair costs are, having money left over, buying some things there at the end if we have some money left over. So that's all I have to say. As far as accomplishment, I think I'm the most proud of. Lipscomb County started out by buying helicopter service, flight service for everybody in the county. The accident or the illness had to originate from Lipscomb County, and they would cover us. Everybody, whether you have insurance or not, gets to ride on the helicopter, a chance at life. That cost $14,000. A few years later, they came to us and said, hey, we service 22 states, and for $34,000, we'll cover you anywhere that we are, just as long as you live in Lipscomb County. And I don't know whose idea it was, but We talked it over a little bit, and we went to the hospital districts. It was a great effort. Each hospital district paid $5,000. We paid the other $14,000. That adds up to $34,000. And if you have insurance or not, you get to fly. And that is an accomplishment of people getting together.
Okay.
Okay, we went a little over time on that one. I'll let that go.
What's the
Is that first
penalty
question?
anyway?
There's no penalty, but I am going to give the you other two candidates some extra time on this first question.
Okay. Mr. Meier, what's one part of county government that would receive more attention if you were elected?
I would have to say the Commissioner's Court. There's going to be a lot of issues be facing this county court in the futures. One of them is the lower tax valuations, the restoration of the county courthouse, and the aging equipment in all 4 precincts. The county commissioners need to start working together. Well, the county commissioners need to work together with the other elected officials in help resolving these issues and promoting economic growth. Thank you.
You were supposed to go long. I'm teasing. Mrs. Coleman, what one part of county government would receive more attention if you were elected?
Not one part of the county government would receive, not just one specific part would receive my attention. I would be a full circle commissioner. As commissioner, I would be fully invested in all of the county government. I want to know all that's going on.
Okay. Don't know that there's anything for any of you others to rebut on each other's on that question. My questionnaire died. Okay, I guess we're going in a different order this time. Mrs. Coleman, what distinguishes you from your opponents and what makes you the right choice for Lipscomb County?
What distinguishes me and makes me the right choice for Lipscomb County of Precinct 3 is that I will be a commissioner that will listen. I will get you answers to your questions and to your concerns. I will get those answers for you, and you will know what's going on. I recently retired from nursing full-time, so if elected, I will be a more full-time commissioner. I firmly, like everyone else, believe in our county. I believe in the people in our county, and I want to serve our county. If elected, from the first day I take office until the last day I leave office, I want to be held accountable.
Okay. Mr. Meier, what distinguishes you from your opponent and makes you the right choice for Lipscomb County? Your opponents, I should say.
Back in my younger days, I joined the United States Army, obtaining the rank of captain. While serving as an officer in the military, I have learned valuable management skills. A couple of them is how to manage personnel, time, and money. In 2001, I moved back to Lipscomb County to manage the family farm. While living in Derzat, I have served on Derzat City Council for many years, from a councilman to the mayor pro tem. And while living in Derzat, currently I'm serving on the Derzat Volunteer Fire Department as assistant chief. By serving as assistant chief, I get the glory of working with the other 5 fire departments in the county: Locust Grove, Lipscomb, Higgins, Booker, and Follett. I'm also serving on the Lipscomb County Fire Association. And that consists of the 6 fire chiefs, assistant fire chiefs, and the county judge. I also serve on the Lipscomb County Stock Show Board, supporting the Lipscomb County youth.
Okay, you done?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Mr. Schilling, what distinguishes you from your opponents and makes you the right choice for Lipscomb County?
I'm gonna make up some time here. My track record. When times I've always stood up for what was right and wrong. There's been times that I didn't care about votes. I didn't care what your last name was. When I learned when something was wrong, I tried to correct it. And that's it in a nutshell. I can talk about what I'm involved in, funeral homes, hog farms, whatever. But at the end of the day, I've always looked for the best interest of Lipscomb County, our employees, which is our backbone. I don't know if he's left yet or not. There he is. Galen, I want to commend you for getting us out of quite a bind. Some things that happened, so I'd like to say thank you. I don't know if you get a thank you enough. But anyway, I think if you go to the courthouse and ask any of the employees, ask any of the road hands, some of them may not like me real well, but I think at the bottom line, we've always looked out for our employees. We've always done the best thing. We do run a conservative court as far as spending money, and we are headed for hard times, and it's just not the county. It's the schools, it's the hospital districts, and the ones that are really in a pinch is going to be the cities. Although they don't have the oil deal to give up, it's going to be tough. I guess we need to start in praying for another boom. Thank you.
Okay, did any of y'all have anything to say about what the other one said? Okay. All right, let's start with some questions here. And this is for, I guess this will have to be for Scotty because it is about current things that are that the other people may not know the answers to, but we'll give them an opportunity to say something if they want to on this subject. What's the cost of the courthouse renovation, and what is the county's part of that cost, and when will it be completed? And that was Dale Ferguson asked that.
Okay, the cost of the courthouse, the low bid was about $65,000 over what money was appropriated. We got that $65,000 worked out through the contractors. We didn't pay that. So the cost of the renovation is $5.8 million. Our part of that is 15%, is $873,000. And time we move in and out, I'd say that we're looking at $1 million, our part. Its completion date is in December of this year, which makes a good deal. I might say that the courthouse was 102 years old, is 102 years old, and $1 million sounds like a lot. I think if you'd have went out beside it and built something on the ground, a steel building, I think you'd have spent $1 million. And it is the only historical building in the county. If it lasts 50 years, and there was some major things coming up, that no way would I want to be on the Commissioner's Court if you started these things by yourself. But the roof being the major thing coming up, it will be put back original, but yes, it's going to have air conditioning, lighting, whatever in it. But if you take, and if it would last another 50 years and divide that into $1 million, you're looking at $1,600 a month. And that's pretty reasonable.
Okay. Do, Mr. Meier, do you have anything to say about that?
No, ma'am.
Mrs. Coleman?
The only thing I have to say is the 15% really bothers me, but on what the taxpayers are going to have to pay. But
Okay.
Can I say something? Why does that bother you?
Well, because I know that, our county taxes keep going up, and I wonder, where are we going to get the money?
Ma'am, we have it in the bank.
That's good.
It's paid for.
Perfect. It's what we need.
Okay. I guess this one is also for the elected commissioner, which is Scotty Schilling. What is the current county tax rate, budget, bank balance, property valuation, number of county employees, and what's your operating plans for the next 5 years?
Why don't you ask them?
Neither of y'all know, want to speak to that instead of you giving it to him first? It's a whole bunch of questions.
It sounded a lot.
What's current county tax rate? Do either of y'all know?
I know the tax rate for 2020 is going up 4.2%.
Do you know what it is?
I do not. Well, I don't have it in front of me, no.
Alan? Okay. What's the current tax rate
About 76 cents.
per hundred?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the current budget for Lipscomb County, the total dollar?
Total, I apologize, I don't have that.
I just know the precincts. I know the lowest precinct is precinct 4, I believe, is 400-some thousand, and Merle's got the highest budget of 536,000, something like that, right, Scotty?
You lost me on the precincts.
I mean, the budgets.
Yeah. Our total budget is 14,000 shy of 5 million at 99% collection. It's $4,986,322.
Me? Sorry, I guess I just moved too far that way. What is the current county bank balances? You know, Alan? No? Diane?
No.
It's around $4 million.
Okay. Did y'all hear? Y'all all hearing okay? Okay. What is the current property evaluation? Do either of y'all know?
I just know they're going down, valuations.
That's right.
The oil field's going down.
Our high was 1.1 billion. We are at 660 million. Last night at the CAD, our mineral appraisal guy said he thought we'd hold our own. I disagree with him. I still think we're going down. What's really scary, in 1999, I believe, when we went to Canada to play football, our evaluation was 287 million, which is still half of what we are today. And gas was under $2, and we're under $2 right now. So there's not a whole lot of bright out there. It's going to be some hard decisions to come.
Okay. How many county employees do we have? Do you know? Either of y'all?
I just know the precincts operate with force. Precinct 1, Precinct 3 and Precinct 2 operate with 4 employees. And Precinct, that's not right?
1 and 3.
And,
No, wait.
no.
No.
3 and 2 has 4.
There you go.
And Precinct 1 and 4 has 3.
County
Yes, sir.
employees would be.
Okay. But the total number of employees in the county?
48.
Okay. What is your operating plan for the next 5 years? Either of y'all want to speak to that?
For the next 5 years. As a Precinct 3 commissioner, we have control over our precinct. That's what we're in charge of. And we got to run that as efficient as we can with the equipment we got. And we got to figure out on how to replace this aging machinery because it's wearing out. That's what we're going to do with the commissioners.
Diane, do you have a
I
five-year
think
plan?
over a 5-year plan, I'd sure work with the other commissioners as a team, and let's look at what we have coming in and the expenses we have and how the money's being distributed and what we're going to need to do, and hopefully to lower some property taxes.
Mr. Schilling?
Well, it isn't just that easy. If the valuation continues to go down and you keep your operating expense the same, you're going to have to either raise taxes or dip into the savings account. I think that there's a happy medium out there of keeping the taxes as low as they can when you have to dip into the savings account, but where the real kicker comes is making hard decisions. And them hard decisions, the way I see it someday, is maybe the easiest decision to make is through attrition. When somebody would retire, maybe not replace them. But there is some hard deals. If the trend doesn't change, there's some hard deals out there. If you want to talk about efficiency, once again, you can take my numbers anytime and go compare them, and I think we do a good job of what we do. We do have some TxDOT money coming, we think. Last time we got over $1 million, but there again, too, it's a matching fund, so, you know, they pay 80%, that $1 million represents 80%, and you got to come up with 20. Round figures, you'd have to come up with $200,000. Kimberly can vouch for this. We got our heads together and we rented them our equipment, and it cost us $0 extra by doing that. In other words, we were paying our deductible or our 20% by renting them equipment because nobody has $200,000 to just lay out there dollar for dollar. That was very successful. We, at that time, divided it up by road miles, and everybody seemed to be happy. We bought trucks, run a Cleachy hauling crew. Not saying we bought the right brand. Come to find out, and Merle can vouch for this, that they take a CAD emblem and drive an international truck underneath it. We didn't know that at the time, but we lived through that. But still, we were very successful. I prided myself, and you know, we looked at a contract deal, and I figured it all out. Took the time to figure it out, and Ochiltree County, they were looking at a contract doing it too, and they were in the same deal. And Dwayne Shagoda said, "I'll be darned if I'm going to figure all that out." He said, "I'm going to call Scotty Schilling and see if he's figured it yet." And I did. So, you know, that was kind of a shot in the arm. But anyway, we come through that very good. And that gave us some excess money to put back in the deal. I also want to comment that since I've been there, and it's not because of me, it's because of teamwork, that any excess money we've put in the savings account. And we're going to probably need it someday.
Okay. We want to say anything to what he
One
said?
thing I'd like to say, within the next 5 years, we need to band together and figure out how we can promote this county so we can have some economic growth.
Okay. Anything else? We kind of forgot to time that one. Can you tell? We're real organized. Y'all just can't tell it. Okay. Andrew Skipper, and I'm assuming you want this to go to each candidate. Start at the other end with Mrs. Coleman. The county does not currently provide adequate grader support for county grass fires, and Precinct 3 does not provide tanker support, unlike some of the other precincts. What do you plan to do to increase our effectiveness and increase our support in graders and tankers for the, and this is from the Booker Fire Department, Booker Fire Chief, Andrew Skipper.
Oh, what I would like to do, Andrew, is readdress the issue of maintainers for the county, for the fire departments. I want to revisit that issue with the commissioners, and let's look at resources and ways that we can go out there and maybe get a maintainer for the fire departments. Because as we know, the maintainers are a huge, valuable equipment in putting out fires or helping to delay the fires, let's say. You get a maintainer 5-10 miles out in front of a fire, or 2 maintainers, you can save a community. You can save someone's home. So if elected, I would like to revisit that issue with the commissioners and see what we can do in that effort.
Mr. Meier, would you like to?
As being a volunteer fireman, I have been on these fire lines. A blade is very efficient in fighting these fires. You can put a blade behind a fire truck and save a lot of time and a lot of money. And those tankers are very valuable, responding promptly, getting us water out there. Because on these fire trucks that hold about 1,000 gallons, you only got about a 30-minute run time, then you're empty. So having those tankers there so we can fill up is very important. And I could say probably running a blade behind a fire truck, we could save 1/3 of water.
Okay. Mr. Schilling?
Well, I knew this was coming, and this is how it is. First of all, one of the most important thing to Lipscomb County right now is our volunteers. But they insist on bringing up questions like this. On March 6th, I don't care what you done, that thing was going to roll. The only thing that saved Higgins, was the wind swapped. The next day, there were some bad decisions made, and there were some things said. But at the end of that, we went down and we got in front of a fire and probably didn't have the right guy. That's my fault. And a grader stalled out, and the fire trucks ran off from them, and the other 2 graders ran off from them. And that grader stalled out, and it wasn't in tall grass, and that operator got off that grader and got out of there. One grader come back and picked him up. And 90 minutes later, I went down there, and the fireman was 2 miles there, all on the deal. And I went over, and my grader was still burning. And I've told these guys, they've come to Commissioner's Court, and they will not listen. But after that happened, and one got a grader in a fire, and he done $20,000 worth of damage to it. And that grader simply stalled out, was on a cow chip, that wheel underneath the cab caught on fire, and that grader was still burning when I got there. Not one fireman come back. You boys want to start a war? I'm ready. But then the commissioners here recently, and I feel like a lot of this is coming
That's your
on
time.
because it's not, well, okay.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
It'll probably be asked in a different way. Okay. Do y'all want to respond to that?
One thing about these blades, about what Scotty said, blades burn up, is true. But what's very important about these blades is having proper equipment in them. We've got to have radios so we can communicate to one another, so when the blade does get in trouble, we have communications tied together. But then again, If we keep a blade behind a fire truck, it should never get left behind. And that's where we got to be working together as a team.
Mrs. Coleman?
I firmly agree. And I do, like I said before, want to readdress that issue and get some maintainers and blades out there for our fire departments.
Okay. This question is addressed to Alan Meier, and it's from Scotty Schilling. 16 years ago, why did you run as a Democrat, and why did you not debate?
That was 16 years ago, but I can't remember why I didn't debate. I don't know if Kevin season or something. I can't recall. But the reason I ran for Democrat because I wanted to get into the general election. Because there was 7 or 8 other Republicans running.
Anybody want to respond to that? Okay. Alan Meier, are you aware that the Commissioners Court has worked hard to control overtime and pay for the last 3 years? And do you know how much the Sheriff's Department paid in overtime last year?
No, I don't have those figures.
Okay.
That's the county treasurer's.
Okay. The deputy that sits at your house day after day, do you know how much his overtime pay was?
No, I don't. We don't talk business at my house.
Okay. Do you want the numbers? The Sheriff's Department overtime last year was $55,939.30. And that deputy that sits at your house, his overtime pay was $17,301.14.
When that deputy sits at my house, he's on his regular time, and that's before he starts work.
Why is he in the cop car then?
I can't answer that.
Why is he using our cop car personally?
That's a question for him.
Yeah, right.
Who was that question from?
Me.
From Scotty
You're not
Schilling.
reading all of that.
Okay. All right, I'm
So
sorry.
you're saying we can't have friends in the county?
I'm saying they ought to be not in the cop car.
But I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm not a commissioner, Scotty. Right now, I'm not a commissioner.
I'm
a
not the
civilian.
sheriff either, but people see it.
Mrs. Coleman,
Feel
do you
good
want to
about it.
respond to that?
I think that, you know, if the gentleman wants to visit with Mr. Meier and it's on his time, then go for it. If he does have a sheriff's, if he is in a patrol car, then why is he in the patrol car? But that is something that our sheriff will address.
Anything more on that? Alan Meier from Scotty Schilling. In Spearman a few weeks ago, you asked my road foreman, Andrew Copeland, to put a sign in his front yard so you could make me mad.
It's not what it says.
No, but I don't use that word.
Okay.
I do, but not here, not on the microphone. Do you not care about anybody's jobs, friends, family, business, anything?
Yes, I do, but we got to have fun, enjoy one another, and don't take things personal. But it's just no.
So if I've got an employee that I've brought back from Amarillo, and he's my road foreman, he was my pick, and he's across from my funeral home, and you put one of your signs in there, I'm just supposed to overlook it?
All it is advertising. That doesn't mean he's going to vote for me. We're all here to live together, enjoy life, Scotty. You can put a sign in my yard, don't mean I'm going to vote for you.
No, but the gist of the question is
He's a citizen of this county like anybody else.
Okay. You want to say anything?
yeah, I think it does nothing but harm. Okay.
Do you have anything to say on that subject, Mrs. Coleman?
Mr. Allen, you can put a sign in my cow pasture That does not mean that I will vote for you, nor my cows or my goats. But it's like Mr. Meier said, you know, I think we don't mean to be rude or hurt each other. We're running for commissioner, you know, and sometimes we do have to laugh and say, you know, did you know what Alan did? He did put that sign in my cow pasture, you know, but I'm not going to vote for him. But, you know, that's what I have to say.
Okay, Alan Meier from Scotty Schilling.
How many did you fill out?
6 or 7. Get ready.
You really love me, don't you?
Get ready.
Okay, that one I've already read. Okay, this is still from Scotty and to Alan. Was the comment by the deputy that is always at your house that he made on Facebook sent from your house?
No.
Okay. Are you aware that that violates Lipscomb County social media policy?
I have no control over the deputies. He's not, I mean,
Okay.
he was not at my house, Scotty. Sorry.
You need to say anything?
No.
Alan Meier from Scotty Schilling. Last April, you backed into a parked car with a fire vehicle. The county provides liability insurance on all vehicles, and you asked the Commissioners Court to pay out of the general fund instead of the insurance policy. Why?
I did not ask the county to pay for that. I went to the Lemon Insurance.
No.
You-
Merle come down and
Nope,
Yes,
nope.
he did.
Let him finish, and then we'll
Nope.
let you rebut.
Nope. Yes, I did. We was on an accident east of Derzat. I was told to back the vehicle up. I backed the vehicle up, and there was a car that pulled in behind me. I did back into it. Didn't do much damage, just a little dent. And I asked Merle. Merle and I have a good working relationship. I said, what should we do? I said, he's going to take it to Commissioner's Court. We got the estimate, or the lady got the estimates. He took it to Commissioner's Court. I went to Lemon Insurance, talked to Sherry, and gave her heads up, told her what happened, and Merle handled it on his end accordingly. And he told me the Commissioner's Court decided not to turn on liability, that they would pay for it.
No. You came and asked the Commissioner's Court to pay for it, and I said no. Let the liability pay for it.
I didn't.
Why would you send it to Commissioner's Court if you wasn't?
I didn't.
Why didn't you just take it to Lemons?
I didn't take it to Commissioner Court. That was
Merle did.
That's right. That was
Merle come down and asked if Commissioner's Court would pay for this, and we said no.
Merle, you want to elaborate on that?
I took it to Commissioner's Court. Commissioner's Court turned it over. We turned it over to Robbie, and Robbie turned it over to Lemon Insurance.
But you wanted Commissioner's Court to pay for it.
No,
Yes, you did.
Merle, the bottom line is, I had no say-so in that, right? Yes or no?
you what?
I had no say-so in that. I didn't force you to go to the Commissioner's Court to request that to get paid for it.
No, you just asked me where it should be.
Thank you, Merle.
I took it to Commissioner's Court, and it ended up at Farm Bureau, the Farm Bureau sent it to Lemon Insurance. And I didn't know who. But apparently Lemon Insurance.
So the insurance company paid for it, as far as we know.
I know we didn't.
Okay. Mrs. Coleman, you have anything to say on that subject?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Brandon Meier. I don't know if this is a question, but it's all we do in this county is build walls between towns. What will y'all do to tear down these walls so we can start working together to better this county, because all this fighting does not do anyone any good? Diane?
What I would do as county commissioner is be available You have any questions, you have any issues, you have any concerns, let me know. Because I agree, we need to get along. We are a county. We work together. And I will be that commissioner that will listen, reach out, and do what I can to keep the bridge, the walls from being built. And working with the other commissioners as a team member to accomplish that. And if there's anything I can do, any questions you have, any concerns, bring them to me, because I will be available. I will get you an answer, and you will know what's going on.
Okay, Alan?
I like that. Because we do need to start tearing down these walls, getting along, and working together in this county to promote this county so we can survive, and hopefully we can bring in economic growth, businesses, that we can have more tax, since the oil field evaluation is going down, to bring in other businesses, so we have that, and to promote the youth, because we've got to have jobs for the youth to stay here. Without this, we're a dying county.
Scotty?
What was the question?
All we do in this county is build walls between towns. What will you do to tear down these walls so we can start working together to better this county? Because all this fighting does not do anyone any good. And that was Brandon Meier.
Well, always before, and I hope it's the same. Although I'm from Follett, Derzett has always supported me. And I've went out and campaigned. This is my third time that I campaigned, and never before has anything ever been said about a Follett Derzett deal. I have had 2 people tell me from Derzett, you know, what does Precinct 3 do for me? I feel like that was a planet question, but anyway, long story short, I feel like it's always been Precinct 3 or Precinct 2, and I can't help it that Derzett's divided in 2, and Booker's divided in 3, so, you know, we just got to live with that, and that's just the way it is. I didn't make up the rules. It's a federal deal. How they do that is they take the total number of voters and divide it by 4 and make 4 precincts. So something that's kind of out of hand, and I think that's more of an attitude than anything. Is I don't believe we're divided.
Okay, any other response on that? Okay, this is the last question that I have. Has anybody else got any more that I don't? Okay. All right. Alan Meier from Scotty Schilling. When you were asking Kenton Lobbin to put a sign in his yard, he said no, and Kenton stated that Scotty was working hard for the schools on the Higgins consolidation. Alan, you got mad and said that Scotty should not be working on that and that it was none of Lipscomb County's business.
I did not get mad on that question. I told Kenton that's not a county issue at this time. It's between the 2 school boards and the school districts.
Scotty, you want to respond?
You bet I do. If we lose, us as Lipscomb County, if we lose that Higgins tax base, that tax base is 1/3 of the total school tax base in the county. And I do not care, but someday you're going to be paying school tax somewhere in Lipscomb County. And without that tax base of the Higgins School District, if you're paying $1 without them, you could be paying 66 cents with them. And it is important. And I cannot say I'm commissioner and do anything, but I'll guarantee you I'm going to do everything I can as an individual to save that tax base. And it is important.
I agree with Scotty, but like he said, and like I'm saying it's not a precinct commissioner's issue. I was putting a sign up as a precinct 3 candidate. The school district, this consolidation that they're talking about is between the 2 school districts, not as a commissioner. That's what I'm referring to. You can elaborate if you want to.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to say anything? I was distracted for a second.
Oh, I'm hoping that Higgins will choose to come to Lipscomb County, because I think it is a wonderful county. And I hope that the voters there will revisit that issue because the kiddos will be taken care of. And I think that the county could use that money, of course, to help better Lipscomb County as a whole. And that's what I'm hoping that Higgins will do. But again, that will be up to Higgins to decide.
Okay. This might be a time, just a real brief moment for, Mickey, do you want to explain how even if they do vote to go to, they can take their kids to Canadian even if they leave the money in the county? Do you want to explain that? Because not everybody understands that. That's kind of off the subject, but it's an important subject, and I could tell that maybe they don't necessarily all. You want me to hand it to you?
This does involve the whole county, and as it stands right now, it's out of Follett's hands. It's out of the county's hands. It's between Higgins School District and Canadian School District. They're going to vote on May the 2nd to either go to Canadian or not. If the people in Higgins ISD vote not to move to Canadian, then it becomes part of what the state will decide what's going to happen. The state has some options at that point. They could decide on their own, and that would probably be go to Canadian, because frankly, that would be more money for for the state, if they do that. Or it could come to the Commissioner's Court, and then we could decide as a county where our money should go. And that's where it stands right now.
Is there any case law that you know of?
I've tried to talk to TEA, I've tried to talk to state school board. None of them will talk to me. They say that it's not in my jurisdiction, and if it does go to court, they can't discuss it with me as a county commissioner, as a county judge. So no one's been able to tell me.
I was just informed that there was a case law back maybe 25 or 30 years ago, and
As I understand, Texas Supreme Court said that you could not transfer money across the county lines.
Judge, if I may real quick, we have
Yes.
clarification on that.
Yes.
And that no longer stands. That
When-
was ruled by the Texas Supreme Court when Lipscomb tried to go to Canadian. It was ruled on that if another school in the county wanted you, you had to stay in the county, but that's no longer the case.
Okay. I've not been able to get that from anyone. I'm glad.
Just so, just since we did get pretty deep into that, just so the people who watch this and hear this later aren't super confused, can you explain what you said again? The mic.
I'm Ken Lobbin. I'm over on the school board, and we've been trying to push this deal with Higgins, trying to keep the money here. And one of the issues that we've heard here recently was that when Lipscomb closed down, they wanted to go with Canadian. There was a lawsuit filed. It went to the Texas Supreme Court. Supreme Court decided if a town or a school in the county wanted to consolidate with the Lipscomb, they had to stay in the county. And we've looked into that, and that is no longer the case. They've overturned that ruling in the past 50 years.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I really don't understand this question. I'm sorry, Lynn. You want to come?
I'll ask it.
Okay. It wasn't your writing, it was,
I know we have 4.
I know we have 4 voting precincts
Booker's split up. There's,
that split up.
my question is,
My question is, how come we don't have 4 working precincts? Why is precinct 3 bigger than precinct 1?
you understand what I'm saying?
it's divided by population.
No.
No, that's not what you mean.
voting.
Okay.
We have, voting's divided by population. Why don't we have 4 equal road precincts?
Because population is number one, how the divide happens.
That's voting. I understand voting. I know that it has to be divided by voting.
Okay.
What I want to know is how come you have more roads than Dan has?
Because he has less roads per square mile or per voter. He has less roads per voter.
I don't care about the voters. I want to know why you have.
But it's the number one split. It's the number one.
Why does it happen?
Because the federal government says so.
Federal government says voting, but it doesn't say you have to that you can grade 30 roads and he gets to grade 400 miles of road, does it?
Who grades 400?
No, I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, if the federal government doesn't tell you that you have to grade 187 roads and Dan only has to grade 20, it doesn't tell you that. It tells you your population for voting.
The federal government says you're going to divide it in 4s, and they don't care who has the roads.
Yeah, but you're not
Okay, that's, I think we've gone down that road far enough. If you want to answer the question, and then we'll give the others a minute to respond. But this isn't a town hall meeting, it's a candidate forum, so we're going to leave the spotlight on the candidates here. So if you want to briefly try to answer whatever that
On the
is.
roads?
I don't know. I honestly I'm way out in left field here. I don't know what's going on, but if you want to try to address what he's saying really quickly, then we'll give the other candidates a chance there.
As far as I know, I did. The number one cut is voters, and they don't care where the roads are at.
Alan, you want to say anything about that?
I know precinct 3 has roughly 164 miles of roads. I think precinct 2 is around 130-something, and the 156. Pretty close. Then precinct 1 and precinct 4 has less roads.
Diane, you want to say anything about that?
I do not.
Okay. Okay. We're going to give each one of the candidates 5 minutes, just their closing statement. They can say what they want. We're going to be on a timer. So, you want to start us, Diane?
You want a woman to start and give me only 5 minutes? Listen, as y'all know, I'm not a lifelong resident of Lipscomb County, but Mark and I moved to Lipscomb County about 20 years ago. In this time, we have grown to love our community and the residents of Lipscomb County. Where else can you go and feel so welcome as Mr. Love's store? You walk in, Mr. Love and those ladies, they greet you, they make you feel welcome, they're wonderful people. They carry your groceries out to your vehicle, rain or shine. And where else can you go and get out of your vehicle and leave it running to maybe run into Delos or Imo's to grab something, visit with somebody by chance, and go out and that vehicle is still there and running, you know, it's not gone, things like that. We have a great school, we have good teachers, we have a good superintendent, we have good coaches. I attended one of the girls' basketball games, and after the game, the opposing team was leaving, and one of the Follett girls ran and grabbed them and had them come back. And the girls all met in the center of the gym, and they said a prayer. And then they interlocked their arms, and did their cute little dance and sing. You know, and I was so impressed by that and so full of pride. I just loved that. And in saying that, I would encourage all of us to work together for a positive vision for Lipscomb County. Let's be proactive in economic growth. You know, we have issues, but let's not spend money on non-essentials. Let's work together. Let's give a future to the next generation in Lipscomb County. And there's been a lot of questions asked tonight that I didn't have answers for, and that I apologize for that. But that doesn't mean that I can't learn the answers, or once, if elected, that I can't get the answers and learn and grow and be a good commissioner, a commissioner that you want, a commissioner that will represent you. As I've said before, if elected, from the first day I take office until the last day I leave office, I want to be held accountable. I am Frances Diane Coleman, and I want to be your commissioner. Please vote for me on March the 3rd, and I'll do all and the best that I can for you. Thank you all very much for your time tonight.
Alan Meier?
The bottom line is, guys, gals, I left this area once, and I moved back to Lipscomb County at the first chance I have to raise my family. It's the best place to live and raise your family. And I truly love my county and my town I live in. I volunteer a lot of hours for the town of Derzette. I volunteered a lot of time through the county. And I will strive to unite this county, tear down these walls, and try to make it a better place. And the bottom line is, we got to promote economic growth. Thank you.
Scotty?
Well, I've heard him say economic growth for a few times now. But let me tell you a little story. I started with nothing. And I've put my whole life into Lipscomb County, into Follett, and we're proud of where we've been and what we've done. And if you want to talk about economic growth, about 2 years ago I stepped out and I hawked my farm and I brought some industry to town, and it was luck. I was in the right place at the right time, and I had the buildings. But today I have 8 employees. I have a $250,000 payroll. I have 5 funeral homes. I base that out of Follett, Texas. And you want to talk about decisions? I've got a story for you, and then I'm going to shut up. There is a TV series, and I didn't watch it when it was first on. I watched the reruns, and the name of it was MASH. And one night, it was Christmas Eve, and the snow was blowing, and Charles Emerson Winchester, he was a rich doctor, and he didn't want to be over there. He had gave the orphanage some really expensive candy. And he went outside, and the black marketers was selling his candy. And he went and he caught the little orphanage keeper by the collar. And he threatened him why he sold his candy to the black marketers. And the little orphanage guy says, you know what? He said that candy would have gave the kids great joy for a small moment. But I took that candy and I bought rice with it. And it's a month's worth of rice. At Lipscomb County Commissioner's Court, whoever's on there, and all employees, we take your tax dollars and we turn it into rice, and we make some hard decisions, and we stretch it as far as we can. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate everybody being here. The one thing I didn't do, and I'll just do them real briefly, is every time we have someone file to run for office, if you're running in a county race, you'll file with me in my office as a Republican chairman, and I ask these questions of every candidate, and because these are things that the Republican Party of Texas stands for, and I ask them this is on file if they filled it out and got it back to me. But some of the things we want them to do is to believe in the strict adherence to the original intent of the Declaration of Independence in the United States and the Texas Constitutions. We want them to believe in the sanctity of human life created in the image of God, which should be protected from fertilization to natural death, the preserving American and Texas sovereignty and freedom, limiting government power to those items enumerated in the U.S. and Texas Constitution, personal accountability and responsibility, self-sufficient families founded on the traditional marriage of a natural man and a natural woman, having an educated population with parents having the freedom of choice for the education of their children, Americans having the right to be safe in their homes, on their street, and in their communities, and the unalienable right to defend themselves, a free enterprise society unencumbered by government interference or subsidies, honoring all those that serve and protect our freedom and the laws of nature, nature's God, and as our founding fathers believed. So I should have done that at the beginning, but I didn't. But anyway, I appreciate you guys coming and being patient and sticking around, and we'll do this again. Thank y'all.